Alright guys, here goes a controversial video. Let's talk about why Alex Jones, amongst others, just yesterday were banned from Facebook, Instagram. Giving you a bit of background, this is basically an extension of what happened a few months back when Alex Jones was banned from YouTube, from Twitter, I think amongst other social media platforms. Now Facebook is also taking a stand and they're banning Alex Jones, Louis Farrakhan, who's the Nation of Islam leader and who expressed anti-Semitic thoughts and ideologies in the past. Other, as Facebook calls them, anti-Semites and potentially dangerous people like Paul Nehlen, Laura Loomer, Milo Yiannopoulos, Paul Joseph Watson. Hope I'm saying all those names right. But all these people will be banned from Facebook and later from Instagram as well for violating the site's terms. Now you can come forward and argue and say, oh, but Milo, he's not a radical right-winger. And Alex Jones, he's just expressing his opinion. You know, this is cutting into my freedom of speech. You're ruining freedom. But it's really not that simple. It's a bit like saying, oh, I'm going to put a swastika on my car, but I'm not a Nazi. Yes, it's a 1 meter by 1 meter swastika, but we all know it's a Mayan symbol for the sun and for power, right? So I'm not a Nazi. I just put a Maya symbol on my car. Well, guess what? Everyone who sees it knows what's up. Okay? Denying those radical traits of any of those people just makes it worse. You know, at least own up to your beliefs. Don't pretend it's something else. You know, if you're against immigration and you think immigrants are the root of all evil, then just say it. Don't pretend it's something else. Don't twist your opinion around so it kind of fits the popular opinion so you can get as many people on board as possible. You know, let me give you one example. I mean, we all know what Alex Jones did, this horrible story about the Sandy Hook thing, and I mean, he did so many things. Even when I watched a few episodes of like these InfoWars shows, literally everything he says, you're just face palming. You're like, Jesus Christ, man. Even I know that's not true. You know, you're just making up shit. Milo, for example, I give you one example what Milo did, where I think is just bizarre. So he gave a speech at a college, and in that speech he named one particular transgender student by name from that college and called them out, saying how perverted it is. He is singling out an individual to shame them at that university. Look, if you don't agree with like the transgender movement and you think it's not right, fine, that's fine. You can come forward and say, in regard to the transgender movement, I'm not entirely sure I'm in support of that. Okay, that's one way of doing it. The other way is pointing your finger at the person and say, that guy is perverted. Okay, those are two different ways of saying the same thing. One is fine and the other one has no consciousness. It is designed to agitate people towards hating that person. It's horrible. And if Milo would be an idiot with an IQ of 50, I would be like, yeah, okay, man, you don't know better. But he's a smart guy. You know, he's not dumb. He knows exactly what he's doing. And these kind of things make him a radical. He has radical thoughts and he's putting them into those kind of radical actions like the example that I just gave. So is it, in my opinion, correct to ban these guys from Facebook and Instagram? Yes. Because even you can't imagine it, but there are a lot of people out there who take everything that is being said by people like Alex Jones at face value. And those guys, like Alex Jones, are in the business of telling lies and half-truth in return for clicks. It's a hate speech machine. And some people believe everything that's being said, and they are willing to turn it into action, potentially harming others who have nothing to do with anything. But people like Alex Jones have no consciousness when to stop, when he has gone too far, when he's slipping into lies. He has no sense of responsibility of putting that hate speech and all that false information out there and what it might cause in the heads of his thousands and thousands of viewers. And I found it highly amusing to see when Alex Jones was on the Joe Rogan podcast recently, and he was confronted with the whole Sandy Hook claims that he made, where he said like, you know, Sandy Hook is just a false flag operation and everyone that we see on TV, they're all crisis actors. And he throws out those bizarre opinions, and then when he's confronted and after a massive backlash of people saying, dude, have you lost your mind? People have just lost their children and you're saying those things, and there's a massive backlash. On the Joe Rogan podcast, he's like, oh no, that's not what I said. It's not exactly what I meant. And I never said it specifically. It's like, dude, you said exactly that. You said exactly that, and don't try to twist it around. It's like the example of the swastika that I gave earlier, right? Don't try to twist your opinions just because now they get uncomfortable and tricky to defend. Stick to it. You said Sandy Hook was a false flag operation and all these people were crisis actors. Stick to it. Own up to your bullshit. Own up to your lies. Don't twist your narrative around so it now fits the bigger picture. It's bizarre. And on top of that, The opinions that Alex Jones communicates and the content that he produces is designed to pick up people when they're at their weakest. When they lose their job, they have no money, their world is collapsing upon themselves. That's the point where a lot of people are looking for easy answers and for scapegoats to project their problems on. And Jones offers that, right? It's not necessarily true, it's not correct, but I'll give you an explanation. And the explanation is, it's the Jews. And everyone's like, oh, okay, it's the Jews. Genius, Alex. Bullshit. Okay, we all know it's bullshit. So I think, yes, his reach should be limited, mainly as a safety precaution. Because if you show no consideration for the negative impact that your message might have, then you are dangerous. In fact, not only is no consideration shown, but it feels like action in his viewers is encouraged. I mean, nobody goes out and says, oh yeah, go out and kill the Jews. But also nobody says, don't go out and harm anyone. So there's never a clear stand taken to say, yes, we have those opinions, but we shouldn't go out and harm people because that does not solve this problem. There is a problem, that's what it is, but stay at home, we'll find another way to solve it, and by not making that point to say, we don't want to turn this into action, you're kind of subconsciously giving people the right to do turn it into action. And like I said before, potentially harm people who have nothing to do with any of this. Another thing that's, to me, highly concerning about this whole story is that looking at comments, whether it's on like some meme factory pages where people are memeing this Facebook ban story, I see so many comments of people just describing it as, well, you're just censoring inconvenient opinions. Complete bullshit. Ed Snowden had inconvenient opinions. But he won't get banned from social media because there's a big difference between exposing the government with facts and telling the truth, and the opposite, which is telling partial truths, leaving out things so it fits your narrative. For example, Alex Jones propagates the anti-vaccination movement. This can pose and already poses a massive health risk for so many. Of course, he's not the only person who's responsible for putting these kind of ideologies in people's heads, but he does play a role in it, and you can't deny it. Someone with so much reach, who reaches so many people, and who propagates these kind of narratives, is absolutely, at least in parts, responsible for what's going on. And if you then, like I said before, don't show any remorse or any consciousness of you being in part responsible for this, then you are dangerous. Because you're going to push it more, and you don't care whether children are literally dying right now because their parents didn't vaccinate them. You don't care about that. You care that people agree on your opinions, bring clicks to your page so you can make the sweet cash. That's what it's all about. And, if a few people die along the way, well, it's not my problem, is it? And I think we can all agree that a mindset like that is highly problematic and can absolutely be seen as dangerous. And of course, I can see already a lot of people in the comments writing, that potentially a ban like this has the opposite effect, right? That it gives a backlash, and that people who feel their right to freedom of speech has just been challenged, and that radicalizes them to do horrible actions. But that also doesn't really make sense, because Alex Jones has not really been censored. He can still say whatever he wants. It's just a bunch of private corporations like Facebook, Twitter, and others. These are not government entities. These are private corporations who say, we don't want this lying trash on our platform. And they have every right to do that. It's a private organization. If you own a shop, right? If you're selling plants, and every week this idiot is going to come into your shop and knock over plants and is drunk and behaves like a moron, you're going to ban that guy from your shop. And you have every right to do that. So it's the same story with Facebook and all those. They have every right to ban him from his platform. Real censorship would be if they would lock him up. What other countries like China might be doing when people have differing opinions, they lock them up. They literally silence them. That would be real censorship of freedom of speech. But that's not happening. Alex Jones can still host his own website if he can find a hoster. He can still upload his videos. He can say whatever he wants. You can go to that website, feed your information from there, do whatever you like. He's not censored. It's just private corporations who say, we don't want to give this asshole a platform. Rightly so. I completely agree. Another opinion that I see a lot in the relevant comment sections is that people saying, oh, no, you can't be conservative anymore, and I guess you can't have differing opinions anymore. But Guys, you have to understand, when you spread fake numbers and lies with the ambition to agitate people to take action based on those lies, you're pretty much facilitating a terrorist attack. It has nothing to do with freedom of speech anymore, and in my opinion, all those social media platforms are doing the right thing and shutting those people up. At least on their platform. Because, like I said, you're giving a platform to those radicals whose viewers then potentially turn into action, go out, kill 20 people, and then people are going to come back to Facebook and say, but look, Alex Jones said on your platform that it's the Jews who did everything, and now the guy goes out and he might be referencing Alex Jones, kind of like the last guy in Australia who shot up these mosques was referencing PewDiePie and stuff. So he's referencing Alex Jones and he goes out, and in his last video Alex Jones spoke about exactly that on Facebook, on YouTube. So now the platform is partially responsible for letting these guys host their radical opinions and with that facilitating, in a way, terrorist attacks. So obviously, if I would be that platform, I'd be like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I'm kicking those guys out, before any shit hits the fan. So to say you can't be conservative, you can't have different opinions, has nothing to do with the matter. You can be as conservative as you want, you can have a differing opinion, but like I said in the beginning, it's just a big question how you put it forward. Now, one big overarching thing that kind of sits over everything, or it seems to sit over everything, which annoys me majorly, is that everything seems about Jews, right? It's a big problem of anti-Semitism, of people genuinely believing that Jewish people are the root of all evil. I've spoken to people who have those kind of opinions, and what's really interesting is that quite often they've maybe met one Jewish person, or they never had a contact with a Jewish person. They just know that Jewish people are quite rich and they own a lot of property and they're rather powerful in various lobbies and all that. So they must be evil, right? Let me tell you a story. I grew up in Germany, okay? For obvious reasons, there are not many Jewish people in Germany, even in 2019, all right? When I moved to London, there's a big Jewish community here. I met, during my studies in London, a lot of people from Israel, just regular Jewish people from Israel, as well as Orthodox Jews, and I had chats with them, I spoke to them. And one thing that kind of crystallized out of all these conversations is that these guys are just incredibly smart. When it comes to solving problems, when it comes to creative thinking, when it comes to approaching a problem and coming up with the quickest, most efficient way of solving it, these guys cannot be beat. I was doing various projects with a very good friend of mine from Tel Aviv, Israel, and at times I was just sitting there in wonder, and I mean, I'm not a complete retard myself, you might disagree, but I was sitting there during my studies in wonder, looking at how he tackles problems and just with an open mouth being like, holy smokes, man. Like, how smart is this guy? And I think that's in part the problem. These guys are just way smarter than the average Joe in society, so a lot of jealousy plays in. They're like, but all those Jews, they're so rich, there must be something wrong. No, there's nothing wrong, mate. You're just not working as hard. You're just not as clever as they are. You just don't have the intellectual background to make the moves that these guys are doing. The other thing is, like, all the Jewish people I met, they're all modest. They are rich, but they are modest. They don't have Lamborghinis in their driveway. They save money. They don't spend ridiculous amounts on fancy clothes. They know how to manage their wealth. They're never drunk or stoned or anything like that. They are just very focused on what they want to achieve, and they do achieve it. Okay? And if you are sitting at home drinking 8 beers a day and smoking 6 joints, and you tell all the Jews are the problem, no, dude, you are the problem. You are the problem. You're not getting your shit together. These guys have their shit together. They're achieving incredible things. You are doing absolutely nothing except complaining. So I think it's a big problem that a lot of people just don't even know any Jewish people, and they think just by being against them, you're somehow solving the problem of them being smarter as you. I mean, do you see the lack of logic here? It's just bizarre. Like, this kind of stuff just makes me facepalm. Another big problem, and this kind of concludes the video, is that I think a lot of people are incapable of seeing beyond themselves. Okay, they only see themselves, they say, well, I'm watching Alex Jones and I don't go out and kill Jewish people, so this ban is ridiculous. It's cutting into my freedom of speech. Well, the problem is that you're not the only one watching his content, and not everyone is able to see it from kind of a distance like you are and not to be pushed into action from that. Some people are just waiting for a trigger, like a specific Alex Jones video where he justifies some narratives. And I think we can all agree that we don't want another mass shooting or anything like that against anyone based on the hate speech of people like Alex Jones. So let's try to avoid it before it happens. Just because you don't go out and kill 100 people doesn't mean that all the other 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people who watch his channel, I don't know the numbers, also don't go out there and radicalize themselves. So, in my opinion, it's good to ban these people because you're decreasing their platform. You're not actually censoring them. You're just saying, dude, not here, please. Take your shit somewhere else. So that's what Alex Jones and all the other guys will have to do now. I feel this video was a little bit too focused on Alex Jones, but I guess he's kind of the carrying figure in this whole ban story. But guys, I'd love to hear your opinions on the matter, okay? But when you write comments, please keep it reasonable. If you're a very conservative and right-wing person and you have a differing opinion, that's fine, okay? Absolutely fine. Just keep it reasonable. Make your points, make your arguments in the comments. Tell me why you disagree, and then we can talk about it, okay? Not everyone has to agree on everything. Every opinion is allowed. But what I don't like is just people coming in and like, oh, you suck, and leaving, okay? Because that doesn't go anywhere, okay? I want to keep this a constructive debate in the comments as much as it is possible. So guys, thank you very much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, you know what to do. But subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, do the other things you need to do to stay up to date with the channel. I'd very much appreciate it to see you again in the future. I'm not always making these very angry political videos, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. So guys, I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. I'm out. Bye.